taught that to my mastermind students, and we've been mentoring ever since. I've been mentoring for over a decade now. We do everything in terms of property, pretty much all the strategies. Just to give you an idea of some of the deals that I do, we just done a flip. It's a 2-bedroom assisted sale flip down in Sussex, quick bread and butter bit deal. We've also got a land deal that we're doing, which is we're looking to get planning for about 20 houses with a GDV of about 7.5 mil. And we do lots of commercial conversions as well in between. Over the last couple of years, we've just moved into mergers and acquisitions, which is buying businesses and buying distressed businesses. We're focusing and targeting businesses that own commercial property. So it's another strategy that we're employing. So that's kind of got me to where we're at right now. One of the things I should add here is that when I got to, I think it was about 2013, unfortunately, I split up with my ex-partner, but I was in a position where I had enough passive income coming in from my portfolio that I got joint custody of my kids, and I retired for about 4 years. So I was able to be a hands-on dad to my 2 daughters. I literally overnight swapped a briefcase that used to have property contracts in it for a nappy bag with Pampers and baby wipes in. My youngest daughter was about 1.5 years old, and I literally spent 4 years just raising my kids, just spending time with them, going to school with them, picking them up. And I kind of retired for that period of time. And I kind of got called back into property, and I started mentoring for some other people. Today, what we're doing, the kind of stuff we're doing right now, because of the current climate, I think we've got the best time and the best opportunity in this lifetime to be doing deals, because this is going to be the biggest recession since records began. And obviously, when there's recessions, there's distressed sellers, there's motivated sellers, there's more deals to have. So this is what we're doing, and this is what we're gearing up for with myself and my students. So that's kind of my journey. That's kind of what I went through. And this is where we got to right now.
Wow, that's brilliant. It's such an inspirational story, actually, from where you come from to where you are. So that would definitely be, quite inspiring for our listeners. But just to unpick some of the bits there, because there's a lot of golden nuggets there about, the mindset and how, when you shift that, you begin to see things in a different way. But I guess, part of your story is characterized by to get to where you wanted to be and visualize your success. You went through a lot of challenge and trauma, like in your early years and all of that. So for people who are almost like coasting and life is good and whatever, but they have visions of achieving things, greater things in the future, but they are comfortable, they are unlikely to take that leap to push themselves to greater heights in terms of what they can achieve. I mean, what would you say to those people? Is it more about, because a lot of successful people, in a way, when you start, a big percentage, they've been there because of some challenge they went through, which, in a way gave them a no plan B. It's just plan A, just like you said that, failure was not an option when you got to a certain point, but that was because of challenge. So how can people who are comfortable, but they have visions, they have no challenge, how can they start thinking about pushing themselves to greater heights?
Yeah, great. It's a really great question, Alex. I think, how do people succeed? Inspiration or desperation? Okay. So I was in a place where I was desperate. I wrote a book just over a year ago. It's called The Code of Reaching Excellence. It's my methodology, which I've kind of touched on today. Yeah. One of the things that will happen is comfort is the enemy of progress. Okay. There's been times in my life where I've been comfortable and I've just plodded along. Okay. Yeah. So how do we kind of really get out of that? The key thing here is to have what I call a compelling vision. This is inside my book, The Code of Reaching Excellence. Okay. There's really a couple of things that you need to overcome when it comes to leveling up your life or leveling up your business. Okay. The first thing is fear. So, sometimes people they're not just afraid of failure. Sometimes people are afraid of success. Okay. And it might sound counterintuitive, but these are kind of things that I hear. Well, maybe I shouldn't do this. What if people judge me? What if I lose my friends? What if I lose my family members? What if I can't relate with them anymore? There's all these kind of what if scenarios that people become afraid of success. So you need to uncover what those fears are. The key thing here is, I'd say, is that people need to have a very compelling vision for life. Okay. I would say to people, look, whether you're in property, whether you have a business, whether you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur, okay, your business is not the end goal. Your business is the vehicle to take you from where you are now to where you want to be. And where you want to be is living life on your terms, right? That's the whole purpose of this. It's to engineer your life to be the way you want it to be, okay? If you love business and you love doing that stuff, that's great. But I love life more. I love the time. I love the freedom. I love the choices to do the things I want to do, when I want to do them, with the people I want to do them. So that's what my business is there for. It's a means to an end. So one of the things that I get my students to do is to create a compelling vision for life. So what does that mean? Well, it's got to be compelling. It's got to be something that makes you go, oh my God, I really want that. I have to have it. It's a must. So how do we create a vision? Now, a lot of people come to me and they go, look, Akhtar, here's my vision board. And what they'll do is they'll get a cutout and they'll take pictures of this and that and this holiday and this car and this boat and all the rest of it. And I go, that's all great. This is all very attractive things. How many of these things have you manifested? And they go, well, not many. And the reason for this is because having a vision is fine, but your vision, in order for it to be compelling, has to be aligned to your core values. So what happens is you need to go through a process where you uncover what your values are, what's important to you, what's important to you about your family, your relationships, your health, perhaps contribution, giving back. Do you want to do something for a charity? Do you want to do something for your family members, for your community, your tribe, whatever it may be? What experiences do you want to have? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to travel? Where do you want to go to? And once you start to create a vision of how your life can be, and I say to people when I take them and teach them this exercise, imagine you could do anything you want, right? There's no restrictions. What would you do? And a lot of the time people don't say to me, hey, I want a Ferrari, I want a helicopter. What they're looking for is experiences. They're looking for certainty. They're looking for security. They're looking for contribution. They're looking for connection and relationships with people. They want to give back. And once you start to get an alignment of what your values are and you create a vision that's aligned to it, that then gives you a bigger reason. And then all of a sudden then, by contrast, being comfortable versus having this compelling vision that would make a big difference to your life, this gives you a massive reason why. And if you haven't got a massive reason why, then your excuses will be big. Does that make sense? If you haven't got a big enough reason why, you're gonna have big excuses. So it's really important that we get in touch. And the thing is, most people's values are unconscious. They're not really aware of what's important to them. So asking yourself, what is important to me in my life? What's important to me in my life? So for me, my family, my children, growth, contribution, all these things are important to me. I then put them onto a vision board, which we tend to do like using Google Slides or, and you create a slide for each area of your life or each value of your life. So what do I want for my children? What experiences do I want to give them? What kind of education do I want to give them? What do I want to leave behind for them? How do I enrich their life? Okay. And it might be people in my community, people in my tribe. What difference do I want to make in the world? How do I want to educate and inspire people? What do I want to do in terms of travel? Where do I want to go? I love traveling, obviously we can't do much at the minute. I'm a keen sailor. I love sailing. I haven't sailed for a long time, so I'd love to get back out in the Med. What do I want to do? And how do I manifest that stuff? And when you start to put that stuff out there, and it's stuff that's like closely linked to your value, closely linked to your heart, it's going to create that emotion, which is going to give you the motion, the movement to take things forward. So this is where a lot of people kind of get stuck in being comfortable, is because they haven't got a big enough vision. They haven't got a big enough reason why, and it doesn't compel them because it's not linked to their core values.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's very clear. And I guess another aspect of this as well, for people who they're starting to grasp a bit of the shift to mindset and understanding them better, but because a lot of this is about community as well, like the people that you're surrounding with and
absolutely
all of that. But people sometimes, because they can't see maybe the actual tangible benefits that they can see of investing in their personal development, for example, paying for a mentor or coach, they will, in some respect, not do anything. I mean, how would you put it in terms of the importance of either investing in a coach, in a mastermind, in a group that will actually help you to develop in a personal? Because for most people, the results are not tangible. They can't see, okay, I go into here, what will I get? It's different to putting your money into a property. It's a physical thing you can get, you put rent and all of that. But how can you get your mind to get to invest into that personal development?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, Alex. One of the things I say is it took me 10 years and I was of the mindset of trial and error, right? I'll just figure it out myself. You know, it was probably, it was a bit of a stupid, looking back, it was a dumb move, okay? You know, when guys are lost, they don't ask for directions. It was probably a little bit of male pride in me. I'll figure it out myself, okay? I was probably a bit young, a bit stupid and a bit arrogant, but it took me 10 years, okay, to get started. Had I have invested in myself earlier, someone could have held my hand and we could have cut that learning curve by probably 9 years, okay? And then I would have had 9 years more wealth, 9 years more property, you know, whatever properties I would have bought at that time would have doubled in value. We're talking 30 odd years, so they would have been, tripled, you know? So if you think about it, okay, trial and error is costly. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you a ton of stress, okay? As of today's day, I've invested over 400 grand on my education with trainings, mentors, and I'm constantly doing it. And I have higher level mentors that mentor me. Why? Because trial and error is too expensive. Okay. It's way, way too expensive. It's a false economy. Okay. When you think about it, if you can pay someone, I will throw money at someone. If they can do what I want to do, and they've been there and they've got the t-shirt, and they're just going to shorten that learning curve for me, because they're going to say, Akhtar, do this, don't do that. And they're going to get you there quick and you're going to get the result. Okay. If you listen to a mentor or you join a mastermind and you put things into practice, you'll always get a return on investment. And I've always got a return on investment. The money I've invested in myself has built a multi-million-pound property portfolio, and we're about to build like a business, a portfolio of businesses. So it's going to scale up. So I would say that you can go and do it by yourself. You can try and do it by yourself. Trial and error is more like trial and terror. You'll get frustrated. You'll get overwhelmed. You'll just feel, you'll go around in circles. You'll feel deflated. It's not good for you, okay? It's not good for your self-esteem. It's not good for how you're going to feel. You won't want to do the work, okay? One of the slogans that we have in my academy is do the work, level up, and reach excellence, but you have to do the work. It's way easier for you to have someone help you and guide you. And it's all, you mentioned earlier about having the right kind of people around you. You know, one of the things that I think is important is to be part of the right kind of tribe or the right kind of community, because, people have got what's called crab mentality. So often I have people come to me and go, look, I'd love to do this, but my wife or my husband, they don't get it. They don't understand it. They think it's risky, and they get pulled back. Or it's simply because they don't understand it. Sometimes it can be the insecurity of the partner. Oh, he's going to go make a load of money. He's not going to need me. Where do I stand? It's human nature. You also get family members that go, look, oh, you don't want to buy property. You don't want to do that. This is all risky. And they start asking loads of questions because they don't understand. What happens is those questions feed into your mind and create doubt, and it stops you from taking action. So it's super important that you surround yourself with the right kind of people that are doing the thing that you are doing or wanting to do. Okay. Because they say in entrepreneurship, you become the sum total of the 5 people that you hang around with. So if you want to become wealthy and you want to do it through property, then hang around with people who are building wealth through property. If you want to become wealthy through being a business owner or mergers and acquisitions, hang around with those kind of people. I also know the kind of opposite end of the spectrum of that. When I got kicked out of school, I hang around with the dropouts. What happened? That became my average. That became the norm for me, because those people, they influence your mindset. So you want to be around the right kind of people who can influence your mindset, but also understand the challenges that you're going through, that understand the growth, they understand the difficulties, they understand the fears, the insecurities that come up as you're progressing in your business. And that's what you definitely need to have. So I would always advise anyone to find yourself the right kind of mentor, someone that you can connect with, someone that you've got good rapport with, who's got a track record of doing it, but then also surround yourself with the right kind of people who can support you, who can encourage you, who can also show you what they've done, so that you believe that it's possible because you've seen people that's doing it. You've got the evidence there to back up what you're doing. If you're there with your family members or a group of friends, another thing that happens in social dynamics is, if you are in a group of people, let's say it's a social group, okay, and let's say everyone's in a job and you're going to go out and become an entrepreneur, a lot of the times those people will subconsciously sabotage you, because what will happen is, as you ascend and leave the group, you shine the light on what they're not doing, or their failings, or their shortcomings, and they won't, they won't realize they're doing it. It's not a conscious thing. They'll go, Alex, what do you want to do that property stuff for? That's all crazy. Come with us. Come go down the pub and let's hang out. Or, hey, look, let's go out of the weekend. You don't need to be doing all that stuff and going to courses at the weekends. They won't realize what they're doing. They just won't realize it. It's a survival mechanism based on evolutionary psychology that's been there for a long time. If one person leaves the group, it threatens the existence and survival of the group. It's a very unconscious thing that happens. So you need to be aware of it. It's crab mentality, but it can happen from loved ones. It can happen from spouses. It can happen from your social group. And you have to be very conscious of it and aware of it so that it doesn't like infect your mind like a virus and drag you back.
Drag you down. Yeah, that's great advice. So in terms of someone who is in this dilemma of jumping into something like this, but obviously most of the time you can't have all your ducks in a row, to do something. So where would people strike the balance? Obviously, if they're in a job, if they just jump into doing something like a business, obviously they don't have that safety net to cover their bills and the basics and all of that. But at the same time, in their job, maybe they're stuck. They don't have the time to actually invest in their personal development. Where would you say the balance should lie? Do you just jump and plan A and just go for guns blazing, or do you create some sort of residual base first, which you can fall back on, is supporting you on a month by month basis in case you haven't started earning yet in any particular venture?